So when you think about the college process and how it's unfolded for you this year, I mean, what we always try to do is choose a variety, not only of destinations, but really of approach to process. So that's what you see before you, and we could pick 6 other seniors across campus and it would be the same story.
It's okay if you don't know what you want to do yet. We'll help you get there.
Honestly, like everything ended up working out how I wanted it to, and I ended up being like, I know that I need to be in California. I need to have a smaller school. So I think for me, it was really about like, I applied to a wide range of schools, bigger schools, smaller schools, schools all over. And it really helped me come down to it, be like, this is where it's gonna go. And honestly, like once I had to make a decision, it was really like, there's only one school.
It is a slow thinking exercise. So like we all, when we're approaching any kind of search, job search, whatever it is, we want to know the outcome. We have very strong ideas at the beginning. What's great about this is it's not as unsettling for students when they change their mind or they shift gears in the middle of the process, because they're all encouraged kind of in a one-on-one basis, develop your own frame for your research. What are your test questions? What are your Sydney-centric, Yasheen-centric questions that you're going to ask this college rep when they visit here or when you're on that campus? And in that process, they really take, I think, command of what they're doing. And they get this reassurance at home that I'm with you, I see what you're doing, we've got you back here. And it's tricky for parents because you're trying to shift roles and you're also the person who's 5 steps ahead of everything that they're doing. So that's a huge responsibility because you're like, I don't think she's thinking she really hates winter, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let this work itself out, right? So what I'm hearing from all 6 of these is they ask themselves questions throughout.
My philosophy for that was pick schools that you're interested in. Do you really see yourself happy at 20 different schools? I mean, that would be such a hard decision to make, narrowing it all down to 1. I only saw myself happy at 8, and so that's all I applied to, and I think that's what's really important.
As the process went on, and as I look back on the process, I'm like, well, out of those 10 schools, I really only see myself at 5 or 6 of those schools. A lot of people and a lot of students are gonna go through phases like, oh, like worst case scenario, I still need these schools. So I mean, as I look back, on the one hand, I'm like, I probably didn't need to do 10, but also, on the other hand, it's like it was still good to have those backup plans.
Students are meeting with our office starting in spring individually of sophomore year, and parents usually are in that meeting too. And we're talking about sophomore year as your first trend year of high school, right? You have your 9th grade year, which it all counts, but then we start to see a trend in 10th grade, and we start to just take stock of activities. So in that process, going from sophomore into junior year, when we have 2 years of high school and we're looking at a program academically as it fleshes out across 4 years, we have our underpinnings of what they like. And then we take into that conversation, what different types of campuses have you seen? Asking the AP question, the AP honors question. I'll leave it to you guys to comment on that.
I guess like going back, I think it's pretty general for every school to just like try to take as many as you think you could, but in doing so, don't take too many, because if you take too many, that could, I always think it's better to get like a better grade in a regular class than to get a worse grade in an AP class. So just kind of know like what's right for you almost, and definitely don't overpack, but it is different for everyone.
I really thought like it's another time for me to be like, okay, I figured out what I like junior year, how can I really figure out what I love senior year? And that's something that really drew me to PRS, that made me be like, I love PRS, is the opportunities outside of the classes. Is there's so many leadership opportunities, so many arts opportunities, and it's not all just about the classes, it's about what can you do outside of the classes too.
Students, I think, feel the pressure to know, because someone's like, you've got to get your story straight. What are you going to major in? No, not that club. Don't do theater if you're going to be an engineer. The most dynamic applicants are the ones who are curious across the board, finding their interests, digging into the rigor in those areas of interest, but also keeping other things going. We encourage students to think broadly and to not jump off of things because they think it's not what someone wants to see from them. Because some of the most interesting profiles come from those small things that you do of your own volition and that you've always stuck with.
What I really enjoyed that my parents did is they were always there with open arms, but I was allowed to take those moments to myself and kind of have that. They were just always kind of one call away in a sense, and that was something that I really needed because I got the space I needed, and they weren't like all on me all the time, but they were also an outlet for me.
My mom was really there throughout the whole process for me. My senior year, it was a lot more stressful, and my parents knew that, so my mom was like, oh, we'll pick a day where we can talk about college, and I can ask you questions and you can answer them, and then any other day, I won't do that just because I know that you're already getting all those questions from everybody else.
It's our favorite thing, actually, to hear in our office is, we love to hear, I got in, like that's all great. But the idea that you come through the college process and you've invested in the introspection and have the support to be patient with yourself and to come out the other side of this process knowing yourself better, that's how you make good decisions.